Hi, this is Mr. Lieberman, and we're going on talking about the War of Mexican Independence. And here we're looking at this guy, Joseph Bonaparte, and he is really a French guy that becomes the king of Spain, but he starts to create some trouble. By the way, here's some pictures of Joseph. You know, he likes to dress in really fancy clothes. This is my favorite right here. Did somebody tell him he was going to look like a girl dressed in a white skirt and pantyhose? I don't know. So, okay, one more thing about Joseph, guy with the pretty skirt. So, going on down, and he actually ended up living in the United States, in New Jersey and Philadelphia, and he ends up in New Jersey, and a bunch of his kids are born in New Jersey. Pauline Ann and Catherine Charlotte. Okay, two of his kids were born there. It's not a bunch, it's two. Okay, but I thought that was kind of interesting. So a bunch of people who would get out of France and come to the United States like to look him up and see what he was doing. So here's what happened that made everything crazy is Joseph Bonaparte decided to seize money and property from the colonial churches in Mexico in 1804. But it hurt the whole economy. Many colonists who had worked for the Roman Catholic Church lost their jobs because the churches had no money left to pay them. And so the people began to resent the heavy hand of Spanish rule. And so the church leaders started to get upset. You've already heard about this guy. This is Father Hidalgo. This is maybe the most famous picture of him. And then in September 16th, 1810, he issued what is called the Grito de Dolores. I probably pronounced that badly, but I tried. The cry of Dolores. And this is where he said, we can't do this anymore. We got to rise up against this. This is not working for the Mexican people. A few months after he started this, he was captured and executed for treason. And this is a painting that somebody has put together of what his execution would have looked like. The thing is, though, the movement didn't stop with his death because he inspired people. Well, see, there were these guys in the area that are called filibusters, and what they want to get over there and help Mexico against the Spanish. It's an era in which people want to fight against monarchies and tyrants and dictators. They're not called dictators yet, but you get the idea. And so people started helping. And there's this guy from Mexico. We don't call him a filibuster because he's actually from Mexico. His name is Jose Bernardo Maximiliano Gutierrez de Lara. Okay, we're just going to call him de Lara now. And de Lara, he goes up to Washington, D.C. to try to get help. And they send him over to New Orleans. And he recruits a bunch of men. One of these guys' names is McGee. McGee, yeah. And so he and McGee go over here and they get up here and they go across the river and they illegally enter Texas and take over the town of Nacogdoches. They take it over easily without much of a fight. And they call themselves the Republican Army of the North. Big name, okay? And then what they do is they're trying to get rid of the Spanish, right? They're trying to take over. This is in 1812, okay? And so they march on down and they go to the town of Goliad, okay? Here's Goliad. It says number 6 right there. And so they go to Goliad and they win that battle. They capture Goliad in November. So in August, they had been in Nacogdoches. By November, they capture Goliad, right? And in that time, though, McGee died suddenly. And then Samuel Kemper took command of what he was doing. And this leads us up to the Battle of Medina. So at the time, let me try to change it. Okay, I can work with that. So at this time, what we see is San Antonio is a huge area of strength for the Spanish. And so the Republican Army in the north knows they need to get up there, and so they go up there to try to fight, and they end up in a battle at Medina, and they pretty much get wiped out. And so that's the Battle of Medina, when the Spanish overwhelm this Republican Army of the north, killing most of the rebels. And the others were killed after surrendering. This becomes an issue with the Spanish and later with the Mexicans. One more point is the Spanish also tracked down and killed colonists in San Antonio who had helped the Republican Army. So a bunch of them skedaddle up to Nacogdoches, where they can pretty much feel like they're safe.